Chick-fil-A Richmond is a proud partner of your Richmond Kickers. With 19 restaurants in the greater Richmond area, we invite you to make a goal to eat more chicken at Chick-fil-A. Fans from swim lessons to after-school care, the Y is committed to building spirit, mind, and body. We're a nonprofit organization open to everyone and committed to social responsibility. The YMCA of Greater Richmond, make your health a priority.
Hello and welcome to City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia for the Richmond Kickers versus St. Louis FC. My name is Daryl Grove. I'm going to be your play-by-play guy. Next to me, my colour commentary guy, Ronnie Pascal. Hello, Ronnie.
Daryl, how are you doing? It's great to be here tonight.
Great, thank you. I'm honoured to be sitting alongside you, former Richmond Kickers goalkeeper, and who knows, in the future, maybe back on the roster as you were recently.
Hopefully not, but we'll see if I need to.
So Kickers versus St. Louis. Kickers are 3 points behind St. Louis and only one, I think they're -1 goal difference behind St. Louis. So a win for the Kickers tonight, they leapfrog St. Louis.
Yeah, you know, that would be great. I think they're kind of peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
Right before it's kind of deadline time. So we always used to say it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
You know, they've been really close all season, and it looks like they're finally putting things together.
Yeah, there was that 13-match USL winless streak. We are now on a 2-match unbeaten streak.
You know what? I'll take it.
So today's players to watch. Let's take a look. For St. Louis, you are looking at Octavio Koosman, number 17. We think he's going to play on the right wing. He had the assist in St. Louis's. It was a 4-1 defeat against Louisville last weekend. But when they had 11 men, they went 1-0 up, and Koosman provided the assist. Down to 10 men, they lost 4-1. Keep an eye on him. He'll be easy to spot with that ponytail.
Yeah, and then for the Richmond kickers, it is Samuel Asante, the 5'5", which I think is being generous. Midfielder for the kickers, provides a ton of spark, really good at possession. I think he's leading the kickers in passing percentage. He's going to be picking off the ball off the defenders and looking to move it around for him and getting things going.
That's coincided with the kickers sort of getting back in form, I think, is Asante taking control of that midfield.
Absolutely, yeah. They've definitely needed someone to do that, and it seems like he's stepped up to it.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups then. For St. Louis, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Okay, we're going to have Adam Grimwis in goal. The back four is going to be Ryan Howe, Tony Walls, Conrad Playvar and Matt Sheldon. The midfield is going to be Emmanuel Apia, who I think is a new signing for St. Louis, with Dragan Stojkovic and Ivan Mrkovic. Daniel Jackson, number 27, the goal scorer last week. Milan Petosevic, number 25, the centre forward. And the aforementioned Octavio Koosman, number 17. For the kickers running.
For the kicker, it's probably going to be a 4-5-1. You've got Matt Turner coming back in goal. William Yambi and Malin Roberts kind of anchoring the central defenders, with Braden Troyer and Jalen Robinson on the sides. You're going to have Oscar Umar, who's a fairly new signing with Asante, and Sonny Genet in front of him. Raul Gonzalez and Luis Fernando out on the wings, and Oliver up top.
Yeah, Oliver, I've been really impressed with Oliver since he's taken that number 9 spot.
Yeah, he's been, he's been pretty patient, kind of buying his time, and he's definitely stepped up and given the kickers a bit of a spark.
Okay, we are underway. So, Ronnie and I are at the stadium, but we are watching on a monitor because there's rain expected, and the kickers have a strong "do not electrocute your commentators" policy.
Which we appreciate, so that's good.
And here is Asante with the ball, plays it back to Milan Roberts, into Oscar Umar in midfield. Umar gives it to William Yambi in the back. Kickers possession in the first 30 seconds of the game here. Yambi squares it to Milan Roberts. I see Matt Turner watching the play there, Ronnie. You'll be familiar with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Matt does a really good job of staying involved when they've got the ball, which is pretty important for a goalkeeper these days.
And Jana has spread it wide to Luis Fernando. I think he's been in really good form lately. Luis Fernando with a couple of step-overs and a turn back. Looks up, plays it to the top of the box. Oscar picks it up. Oscar cuts back. Oscar, I keep thinking he's going to shoot. Oscar, go back out wide. Fernando plays it in low. It's cleared by St. Louis. And here's Guzman with a long clearance, getting his team out of danger. Held up by Jackson. Troyer gets across him. Has he won the kick as a throw? He has.
Yeah, Luis, I know the kickers were really excited when they signed Luis. They knew he had kind of some time to settle in and get things going, but it seems like that potential is finally starting to come out.
Oh, yeah, it's been a couple years, right? I remember seeing him as a teenager, sort of shivering on a bench out in Chesterfield.
Yeah, so he's definitely come a long way, and it looks like that potential is really starting to come out, and he provides a pretty good spark for the kickers out wide.
There's going to be a St. Louis throw-in on the far side. Throw is into Petosevic. Couldn't control it. It's cleared by Oscar. Challenge for Oliver, who gets his chest to it. He goes down. He's won a free kick.
Well done by Oliver, showing up and trying to win the ball for the kickers, hold it up, and let his team kind of come in and support.
That's the dirty work you have to do as a striker, right?
Yeah, and that kind of him taking a foul right there brings up a good point. Something that Coach Kalishaw said earlier was that the kickers need to get a little bit more bite and nastiness to them.
I heard that. I saw that in the interview.
If you talk to any other striker, you'll definitely hear that the defenders definitely kick them and push them and hit them, and sometimes I think our defenders are a little bit too nice. So it would be nice to have that nastiness.
Yeah.
And I think having that guy right there, William Yambi, back in the lineup, not only offers a ton of leadership, but also that little bit of a bite when he needs it.
Oh, does he have that? He seems like such a nice guy.
He's one of the nicest guys in the world, but on the field, I would not want to play against him.
I see. I'm going to say early on, I thought St. Louis would be coming out in a 4-3-3. It looks like a 4-4-2 to me, with number 27, Daniel Jackson, joining number 25, Milan Petosevic up front. Petosevic, I apologise. Troyer with a long ball into Luis Fernando. Couldn't get there. It's cleared by Matt Sheldon. Oscar in midfield, a loose touch. It's collected. Stojkovic outright. Here's Sheldon joining the attack. Sheldon goes back to number 17, Octavio Koosman. Koosman out wide. I think that took a touch. It's kept in bounds. Here's Sheldon still. Sheldon gives it to Stojkovic. Squares it back to his defender. Played out left. And it's left for Apia. Apia, good touch backwards. Howe and Apia exchanging passes. Apia looked like he got a nudge there, but it's out of bounds, and it's going to be Robinson with the throw. Jalen Robinson, I believe, on loan from DC United.
Yeah, his first game with Richmond was against Bethlehem, so I don't know if maybe he was the spark that provided it coming in from the back, but
he was involved in the second goal. I think he got a nice exchange of passes going with Raul Gonzalez.
Yeah, he was. He's a solid player. He's been down here before on loan, and he's one of those guys who really wants to come in and take the most of his opportunities to get some playing time.
Here's a Pia from distance, left-footed. It's blocked by the aforementioned Jalen Robinson. Kept in bounds by Raul Gonzalez. Under pressure, manages to turn and play it up the line. Collected by Merkovic. Merkovic on the ball. Short pass, and it's played backwards. Nice drag back. Here's Stojkovic. Squares it. St. Louis bringing the ball forward. That was play well. Sheldon getting to the end line. Luis Fernando steps across him, tries to shepherd it out. The ball is just rolled out of bounds.
Well done by Luis. It's always good to see your wingers come back and help out defensively.
Fair to say that's kind of one of the things he's had to learn.
Yeah, I would say so. It's kind of anti that old Brazilian mentality of attack.
Yeah, they don't put that in the ads, do they?
They definitely don't. But he, if you're willing to put in the work, it's something I think everyone on the team really appreciates.
Matt Turner with the goal kick, kicks it long and high over the head of Raul Gonzalez. Midfield scramble. Samuel Asante is the man that comes away with it. Big slide tackle comes in from Merkovic.
That one looked a little bit nasty. It looked like he was a little bit high, studs up over the ball. Hopefully Asante is okay.
Referee looks like he wants to have a bit of a talk.
That's an early yellow card. I think from seeing it the first time, I haven't seen the replay, but it looks like it was the right call. It looked like it was a little bit dangerous. Studs up over the ball.
Stojkov frustrated, but yeah, I think you're right. Reckless, right? The word is reckless that the referee will be thinking.
Yep. Here we go. Let's see. Asante with a good little turn, and that's a little bit high. Yeah, I think that's the right call.
Yeah, he didn't follow through, but the foot was high, right?
It was definitely high. The studs were showing. Mm-hmm. It's one of those tackles that it could be dangerous if it hits him in the wrong spot. So Asante did a good job of kind of jumping out of it, but I think that's the right call with the referee, kind of set the tone early on.
Kickers have possession now. Here's Oscar. Oscar chips the ball forward. It's run through. Milan Roberts through on goal. Milan Roberts, his shot is blocked on the line. Goalkeeper Grimwis picks up Tony Walls and thanks him for a save.
Wow. That's well done by Malin to be there, and it's good stick-to-itiveness, we'll tell it. But I think if you have a attacking player up there, he might be able to slide it over. But that's well done. That's a good opportunity for the kickers, and hopefully they can get some confidence off of it.
Matt Sheldon, number 13, the right back for St. Louis, will not be getting confidence. He's the guy that missed the ball as it was bouncing through. Corner kick for the kickers. Raul Gonzalez, one arm in the air, goes short. He's played it short. It's off camera right now. We've caught up. Sonny Jane tackled at the top of the buck by Sheldon, making up for his earlier mistake. Kickers maintain possession. Braden Troyer, right-footed, out left, to Asante. Samuel Asante, nice and calm, all the way back to Matt Turner. Turner goes long again, long and to the left. Plevas gets ahead to it this time. Kickers trying to win possession high, but Koosman has maintained it. Ryan Howe goes back to his keeper. St. Louis still with possession. Chip forward, held up by Potosevic, but won by the kickers. Here's Yambi, who I've learned recently is nastier than I thought he was.
Only when he needs to be.
Robinson, Oliver with a nice layoff. The ball back in was blocked by Stojkov. St. Louis win it back. Ooh, bit of a shank of a kick there.
He'll say he meant to do it.
There's no way that was deliberate, right, Rennie?
Not at all, but he'll say he meant to do it.
He'll say it was a nice low pass into midfield.
I would have.
This throw is going to be for St. Louis. Shot of Lee Cowlishaw there. How do you think he'll be feeling so far, Ronnie? 8 minutes in.
It's usually the first 15 minutes are always a bit of a scramble. Both teams trying to feel each other out. The good thing is the kickers did get a good opportunity on goal. I think they've had a majority of the possession, and they seem to be playing pretty well. They've got that confidence. They've got a little bit of a buzz. going. So I think right now it's a pretty good start. It would have been better if they were able to score. Always nice when you can score in the first 10 minutes when everyone in the stands a free pizza, but it's it's a good start for the kickers. I think they're looking pretty sharp, and if they can keep it up, they'll hopefully be able to capitalize and take advantage.
I think that chance took Milan Roberts by surprise. I'm not sure he was ready for that at all.
I think that's a good way of putting it, especially when you have a center back up there with the ball at his feet. He doesn't really know what to do, but I don't think he was expecting it to find its way through.
Jackson putting Turner under pressure there. Turner kicks long. Raul Gonzalez loses it in the air. It's going to be Playvar to play it through into Koosman. Koosman has laid it off. Here's Apia. Apia out left to Petosevic. Petosevic getting some touches out wide. Not a bad cross. Apia gets, I think, a back heel to it. He's put it across goal. Turner was not letting that go out. Did he think maybe a kicker's player got a touch to it?
Yeah, I think it hit off Braden Troyer. So Matt did a pretty good job of getting a hold of that. And I'm always a fan of that, honestly. I'd rather have the ball in the goalkeeper's hand, being able to play quickly. Instead of having to take a goal kick. So right. I think that's the right play.
You just like that
especially
up-tempo game.
Yeah, it's the up-tempo. You get the ball, you can run to the top of the box, distribute quickly, kind of keep possession going, keep the tempo of the game going. It's a beautiful night, a little bit wet.
Oh, we have Raul Gonzalez in the box. Shoots. He's hit the side netting.
It's a good attack by the kickers, but it's a good night. It's a little bit wet. It's not very hot for end of July in Richmond. I would love to play in this weather, so let's keep the tempo going. Try to push it as much as possible.
Let's get one more look at this. I think it was a Sonny Jane ball through to Raul Gonzalez. Strides onto it. We've got a bit of a slow-mo. I think he slipped as he struck it.
Little bit of a slip. Usually in that situation, you like to go far post. Goalkeeper can make a save, give up a rebound to Oliver, kind of running in. Can have one of those Schrosses that ends up being a shot and a cross all at the same time. So it's far post might be a better option, but I think the slip took a little bit off of it.
So we're going to blame that on the conditions, maybe?
I'm sure he will.
Now here's Tony Walls, plays it to Ryan Howe into midfield.
Yeah, I think you have to take the conditions into account tonight. It's going to be wet. It's going to be a little bit slippery out there, a little bit nasty, and you've got to do that. You've got to take a chance, put the ball in the box, and you never know. They might end up slipping.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what happened to Matt Sheldon. That ball he didn't slip it. I think the ball skipped in a way he wasn't expecting, and I would say that's to do with the slickness of the surface.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to happen. When you've got to adjust to the weather conditions, and the field here always takes rain really, really well, but it does make the playing condition a little bit differently.
Luis Fernando having no trouble there with the rollovers. Gave it back to Troyer, who sent it long. Now the ball is collected by Oscar Umar. Oscar outright, looking for Raul Gonzalez. Gonzalez gets his head to it, but the loose header picked up by Oscar. Now Jalen Robinson. Gonzalez tries to go the other side. Good turn out of pressure there. Now here's Jackson. Jackson to Koosman, under pressure from Troyer. St. Louis maintaining possession for a few seconds here. Now Matt Sheldon into Murkovic. Nice layoff. Koosman goes out right. Sheldon to chase. I think he got to it, but his cross, it was tough to get it back around from that angle.
Yeah, I think the surface is playing a little bit quicker than people are used to right now. They're keeping possession, but it doesn't seem like a very clean possession. Ball's bouncing a lot, skipping around. It seems like both teams are kind of hard getting into a bit of a rhythm.
Does it sort of, when the conditions are like this, do players adapt to it throughout the game? Can we expect it to get a little smoother as we go, or is it going to be like this the whole game?
Yeah, no, it's, typically as long as the conditions don't get worse, they'll start to figure it out. These guys they're good enough, they've been playing for long enough that your body starts to get used to it and you start to figure out what you need to do. But that's why typically that first 15 minutes is kind of your feeling out period.
Okay. So we have 3 minutes of feeling out left.
Hopefully.
Milan Roberts for the kickers, gives it to Braden Troyer. Troyer made Koosman slip there. It's supposed to be the other way around, right? The winger should be making the fullback slip.
Braden's kind of sneaky though.
Yambi drives it low and forward. Oliver gets a touch, lays it off to Raul Gonzalez. Gonzalez gets it out wide under pressure. Jalen Robertson joining the attack. Here's a loose pass now. Jackson drops it to Stoikov. Stoikov ball out left to Petosevic. I've been expecting him to be sort of a big number 9, but he's been drifting to the left many times.
Yeah, quite often. He seems more comfortable out there right now.
Kickers win it back there. Gonzalez to Oliver again. Oliver's pass hits Stoikov. Now Sheldon drives forward, giving it to Koosman. Koosman back into the middle for Stoikov. Stukov trying to split the midfielders, but Asante got a touch to it. Shot from distance from Apia. It's bounced just wide.
Yeah, I like the idea there. It was a good idea trying to pick out the far post. He just didn't really hit it very cleanly, and I don't think it really bothered Matt Turner too much.
Here's the thing I've always wondered as a keeper. Right? I mean, I've played in goal in an emergency situation when my Sunday team didn't have enough guys. But I always wonder, when a ball is coming at you and it's bending a little bit like that is, but you're pretty confident it's going wide. Like, at what point are you sort of confident that you don't have to sort of cover your post?
You know, when you've been playing for long enough, you can kind of pick up how much that ball's going to bend as it's coming towards you. So you get a pretty good idea of it pretty quickly.
So I need more than 2 Sunday games.
Yeah, more than 2 Sunday games.
Luis Fernando, it looks like, was fouled at the top of the box there.
And this could be a very dangerous free kick with the weather conditions right now.
Let's take one more look at this. Flick on from Oliver. It looks like maybe a pull on Luis Fernando.
He definitely got his arms around him. I think that's the right call right there. You know, I think Fernando definitely felt the pressure and went down, but he definitely grabbed him around the waist. If I'm a goalkeeper on the other side, I might not like that call, but a goalkeeper for the kickers definitely would.
So this is, maybe 20-something yards out. It is not far out at all, just inside the D at the top of the box.
Right in the middle. So this is good. Either one, left-footed, right-footed.
So Gonzalez is right-footed. Sonny Jana is going to take it left-footed.
Yeah, you know, and this is one of those where I depending on how the wall's set up, if one of them might see something, if the wall's not in the right position, you can try to sneak it underneath them, keep it on the ground, use the wetness of the field.
Ooh, Johnny took a step. Grenwis is waiting. Gonzalez shoots, deflected. It goes wide.
Well done by the wall right there. Well done by the wall. He hit that pretty well.
It's going to be a Richmond kicker's corner. Yeah, was that a header?
That was a header.
Jumped and headed it out, yeah.
See, that's one of those with this wet weather conditions, especially after watching the U.S. against Costa Rica in the semifinals. Hit it on the ground, use the skip of the grass when it's wet, kind of like Dempsey did.
Is that what Dempsey did? Yeah.
You know, and just kind of use that to your advantage. You know the wall's going to jump, so see if you can kind of go underneath and around him.
Jane with the corner, left-footed, in swinging. It looks like Oliver got a head to it on the floor. Ball is bouncing around in the box. Overhead kick. It looks like Potosevic took a boot in the face. Potosevic holding his forehead. I'm not sure which Kickers player did that. I'm wondering if he's going to be in trouble with the ref.
I think it was Jalen Robinson.
Let's see this one more time.
Was that
it is Jalen
Oscar
Robinson,
was
36.
It
It was 36,
okay.
yeah. I think he was just going for the sort of
I think,
acrobatic.
At that point, I think any player would have done the same thing. Potosevic was doing a good job defensively, trying to get ahead on it, and unfortunately, he got him.
I know St. Louis fans will be thinking about their number 9, Christian Valesky, who was sent off last week for a high boot. I know Bobby Warshaw a couple of seasons ago was sent off playing for Harrisburg for a high foot. So I'm a little worried about what the referee is going to do here. Good news is Potosevic is up on his feet.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it was really a dangerous play. He was going for a bicycle kick, and Potosevic put his head in the way. It happens a lot, unfortunately. It's a dangerous situation. But
so it's more like a good defensive play from Potosevic, a brave defensive play.
Very brave. You know, I'd be surprised if it's anything more than a yellow. I'd be a little bit surprised if it was a yellow, honestly. You see it happen a lot. It was, you know, no malice, no ill content going for it, just trying to get the ball.
So Potosevic is being told, I think he has to go off maybe and get looked at, but he seems okay. Big 6'2" Serbian striker. Chance for a free drink at least.
Yeah, it's good. You know, take a minute, kind of get your head underneath you again, and see what you can do.
So it's going to be a free kick to St. Louis. No cards as far as I can see.
I didn't see him bring one out. So hopefully there was nothing.
Grenwis goes along. Braden Troyer wins it in the air. Oliver loses out to Pleva. Malin Roberts puts his foot on it, slows things down. Gives it to William Yombi, Richmond Kickers captain. Out to Jalen Robertson, who's definitely still on the field because he just passed it back to William Yombi. Yombi gives it to Oscar. Looks like Kicker's trying to establish a bit of a... Is this the deal here? You're trying to establish a bit of a rhythm, bit of tempo, hold onto the ball for a bit, not too worried about where you go?
Yeah, I think so. You know, if you have the ball, the other teams can't score. So you kind of try to get possession, try to get a little bit of a rhythm. You know, like we talked about, get used to the weather conditions, see how the field's playing, and see if something opens up. But try to get a couple clean touches in there. You know, Yambi going for the long one, which happens sometimes.
St. Louis with possession. There's Potosevic. Malin Roberts got a foot in there. Here's Koosman. Koosman for St. Louis. Puts it out right to Sheldon. Overlapping. Sheldon cuts back. Luis Fernando back doing some defensive work. Koosman picks it up. Koosman goes down. Looks like we have a St. Louis free kick this time.
Yeah.
Now we have Oscar Umar maybe suggesting that that wasn't a foul. I feel like every player has disagreed with the referee so far.
That's the one thing about being a ref is you never make anyone happy.
Yeah, it's not a job if you want to be popular. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 PM Eastern on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. Also, don't forget, SiriusXM FC will air the game of the week. Please check uslsoccer.com for dates and times. We have a St. Louis free kick. Standing over it are Ryan Howe and Octavio Koosman. Koosman crosses. Sonny Jane got a head to it. Raul Gonzalez is going to collect it in the corner for the Kickers.
Yeah, you know, that free kick was in a pretty good spot. I was a little bit nervous. The Kickers only had 3 in the wall right there. And
yeah, that was shooting range, right?
It looked like it was shooting range, and you had Samuel Asante in there, which, you know, nothing against Asante, but it's always hard when you have the smallest player on the field in the wall.
You said earlier 5-5 maybe?
Yeah, it gives a bit of a shooting opportunity, but, you know, St. Louis decided to go for the cross, and Richmond defended it pretty well.
Here's Apia, out wide. Apia squares it in the box to Potosevic. Kicker's going to tackle him. Luis Fernando heads it ahead of himself. Wasn't tight enough, though. Now St. Louis with the ball again. Merkowicz with one of those big switches to Apia. Nice-ish touch, but didn't maintain possession. Here's Sonny Jane. Jane trying to accelerate down the right, but he ran into a crowd of St. Louis players. Slide tackle in the end from Merkowicz to put it out of bounds.
You know, he's another player who's really stepped up the last couple games.
Yes, I agree.
He signed for Richmond last year, and we were expecting some big things out of him, and it looks like he's finally starting to do that. Just that kind of stick-to-itiveness again. Seems to be a common theme tonight. But no, he's a very dangerous player. I remember playing against him when he was at Wilmington back in the day, and you know, he's got a very dangerous left foot, and it seems like he's finally starting to find his rhythm here in Richmond.
I think this is definitely his position, right? I mean, he's wearing the number 10 shirt. He likes to play underneath the striker. Absolutely.
Got to give him some free range going forward. Let him be creative. Let him hit some shots from distance and see what he could do.
Groenwis with another strange kick. I know he's just giving it to his team.
You know, I don't mind. I don't mind that foul at all by Yambi. We talked about a little bit of nastiness out there, and if you're going to do it, that's the place to do it. You know, let the forward know that you're behind him. Let him know that every time he touches the ball, he's going to feel you right there. So I'm fine with that. It's not a dangerous spot. Kind of disrupts the play a little bit, keeps them from getting into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And again, it just kind of lets him know that the defenders are there.
So you feel like anywhere maybe over that halfway line, far from goal is okay?
Yeah, you know, anytime there's a foul at midfield like that, I'm okay. It's not dangerous. You're not going to get a yellow card from it. It's more just kind of saying, hey, you know, whenever you touch the ball, I'm going to be right here, which you need.
Now Matt Turner kicks long. Oliver didn't challenge for it, but the ball's gone back to midfield. Oscar's put it out left to Braden Troyer. Troyer drops it back to Asante, to Oscar. Pressure coming from Merkowicz, he turns. Oscar back to Asante, that's a little bit of a loose pass. Asante's going to keep it in, and he gives it to Braden Troyer. Ball is still in play. Malin Roberts cut out the counter-attack. I always feel for Braden Troyer because I know he's a very right-footed player playing left-back, and I really think he makes the best job possible of it, but sometimes I feel like you're in a backward situation.
It's very hard. Like you said, I think he does a phenomenal job with it given what he's got.
Yeah.
You know, but he's one of those players, he'll do whatever that the coach asks him to do.
Yeah.
He's a great kid. He's just one of those solid, consistent guys, not very flashy, but shows up every day, willing to work 100%.
I see him win a lot of tackles for the Kickers as well.
Yeah, I think he was kind of the unsung hero last year. The Kickers had a very good season last year, and he was one of those guys, played almost every minute of every game and added so much value. One of those guys you don't realize what he does till he's not there.
Here's Koosman, who has been on the ball a lot so far. He's like drifted in from that right wing quite a lot. Keeps giving it outright to Matt Sheldon, the fullback. Sheldon goes all the way back to his centre-backs. Playvar gives it to Walls. Tony Walls, who had that off-the-line clearance from the Milan Roberts shot. Stoikov goes out left. Here's the overlapping Howe. Howe fires it in. Turner caught it at the near post, and did he carry it out of bounds?
I think it was out of bounds already.
Okay.
That's always when you get a little bit nervous because the linesman's on the far side, so you don't know how much you can see of it. But I think that's the right call. He's definitely catching it beyond the goal line.
To renew your home at the Richmond Window Corporation.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit nikesoccer.com. Here's Luis Fernando. Back to Milan Roberts. Square to William Yombi. Steps away from Jackson. Jackson giving chase. Yombi under pressure. His pass was cut out by Appiah. Now St. Louis have the ball back. Here's Appiah. Out left to Jackson. Jackson, who scored last week, he's looking ahead for options. Still coming inside. Squares it to Koosman. Koosman from the top of the box shoots. Hits Braden Troyer. Good block from Braden Troyer. Now Sheldon comes forward. Squares it to Merkowicz. Ryan Howe, the left back. Into Stoikov. Stoikov into the feet of Appiah. Appiah again on the line. St. Louis with a good bit of possession here. Although only blocked shots to show for it so far.
Yeah, I was just thinking both teams kind of have spells of possession, but it's kind of neutral possession. They're really not finding those passes forward. Really nothing penetrating, nothing going forward. You know, really except for that Malin Roberts shot.
Mm-hmm.
That was really the only time either team has really threatened on goal so far.
I think there's a lot of that, right? That ball was played in looking for strikers, but instead it's cleared by the kickers. It's a lot of sort of bodies on top of the box.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are just really stressing defensively, getting numbers behind the ball, giving up possession in midfield or kind of your defensive third and letting them move the ball around as long as they're not getting dangerous, knowing that if you've got the numbers behind the ball, it's going to be hard to break down on a night like tonight.
Oh, there's space on the left here. Howe fires it in low. Petosevic got a foot to it, and then Koosman at the far post could not connect properly.
Wow. They probably should have done better on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure Koosman would want that one back. That was a great ball across.
Oh, I think maybe Koosman thought Petosevic was going to get to it.
Or either that or thought Braden Troyer was going to be able to clear it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Braden knew that Koosman was behind him. You know, as a back in that situation, I'm not a big fan of Braden's body position right there.
Right.
He's got his back to the back post. He has no idea who's behind him. If you're able to open up your body a little bit, you could see, you know, maybe he'd be more aware that he's back there.
Yeah.
And almost like it took him off guard. He didn't know there was anyone there.
I'm also not sure how Ryan Howe had so much space down in that left corner. I'm thinking there might have been a turnover that we missed. Quick game of head tennis happening over on the far side. It rolls out eventually for a kicker's throw. Jalen Robinson to take. Lee Cowlishaw with his customary happy, smiley demeanour on the sidelines.
He's always a very happy guy out there.
Always thinking, always thinking. Oliver limping a little bit. Looks like he got caught just after the play there.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty good challenge. Nothing dirty, but I think they both kind of caught each other.
Ref having a quick word with Stoikov again. I think Oliver will have to see if he's still limping in a few minutes. We might have a problem.
Yeah, I think that's one of those that just kind of stings when it first happens. You give it a couple minutes, run it off, and he seems to be running a little bit better already.
Yeah, there he is in those green boots.
Yeah,
yeah, jogging around already.
Makes it easy for us.
That really is doing commentary. Anytime a player wears distinctive cleats, it makes him easier to spot. Because you can't always see the player's number.
I know, it's nice. Especially when you're looking at a TV screen.
Here's Playvar outright to Sheldon. Sheldon under pressure, but turns away from Luis Fernando. Can he get away from him? He can. Sheldon down the line for Koosman to chase. He played that out of bounds. Kicker's throw.
Again, it's still, 27 minutes in. It's still a little bit sloppy by both teams. It's just not clean passes, clean touches.
Maybe we've extended the feeling out period. Luis Fernando, though, has got away from his defenders. Crossfield ball. Found Sonny Janet. Janet, good first touch. Turns away. Now he dribbles. Now he tried to find Gonzalez. He has Gonzalez from distance. Did he see the keeper off the line and just think, I can do this?
I think that was the thought. Don't know if it was the best thought in that situation, but it's I like the creativity. We'll put it that way.
And positionally, was Grenwis like too far off his line?
I don't
kind
think
of
so.
normal to me.
No, yeah, that was kind of the odd part of it. I didn't think he was that far off of his line. Yeah, he was maybe 2-3 yards off your line, which is where you'd expect to be.
Just a snap decision from Raul Gonzalez.
Yeah, it was. It was tough. The ball was in a position where you couldn't really step into it and hit a good volley. So maybe he thought that was his only option.
Yeah. No harm in trying.
Nope. We'd rather have him try.
So we are 28 minutes and 30 seconds in here. It is still Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 0 at City Stadium. Here's Potosevic. He's recovered from that head injury, holding the ball up. Not a great pass, but it's kept in bounds. Tony Walls evades Raul Gonzalez. Gives it to Conrad Plevar. Plevar back to Walls. To Ryan Howe. Here's Howe looking for options. He's found the feet off Jackson. Good tackle from Jalen Robinson. Here's Oscar. Oscar gets away from Apia. Fellow Ghanaian. And there's Oliver. Oliver I see keep coming deep and getting some touches. I kind of like to see him getting involved.
Yeah, it's good that he's getting involved, but it's also at the same time kind of a bad sign that you feel like your forward, who's supposed to be that long outlet, has to drop in deep in order to be involved with the ball and to be able to find it. It kind of takes away that long option unless you've got someone like Gonzalez or Luis running in behind him.
Here is Gonzalez. Square ball into Oscar.
You're starting to see a lot more interchange of position with those kind of front three with the kickers.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, but right now they're all kind of standing in the line.
Loose touch from Apia. I think Jane's on it. And I believe he has won a corner kick for the kickers.
Well done by Jane.
Is that the correct pronunciation, Jane?
That's what he likes.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I've heard.
He would know, right? Yeah, good awareness from Sonny Janet just to get on that. You notice I've picked it up already.
That's good. No, that was the first time I saw a little bit of urgency going forward by the kickers.
Corner comes in, bounces loose in the box. Looks like maybe a foul. Yeah, Grenwis is saying he got elbowed.
Doesn't look very happy.
But you were saying the kickers looking urgent all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's something they had, I think, against Bethlehem was an urgency going forward.
Yeah,
and so far the first 30 minutes, that was really the first time I've seen where they're really pushing numbers forward and really trying to attack. That's something they need to bring into it. Hopefully get some goals, but they need to get that urgency going forward.
This ball's ahead of Potosevic. William Yombi is there first, gives it to Matt Turner. Turner clears. Kept in bounds. Appears touch was loose. Oscar gives it to Braden Troyer. Troyer looking upfield. Goes diagonal with his right foot for Janet to chase. It might be a little too long. Yep, it's rolled out of bounds for a St. Louis throw-in.
Yeah, on a dry night, that might be a phenomenal ball.
Because it would just sit when it lands.
Right, tonight with that little bit of a skip, I don't think it was going to work. But I like the idea. I like the fact that he's trying to get forward. It's a good run by Sonny. A really good idea by Braden. That's kind of that urgency that we need. We need those penetrating balls in behind.
The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting uslsoccer.com and follow them on Twitter @USL. Good touch there from Jackson, lays it off to Koosman. Koosman dribbling in field, turns, goes left. He's joined by Stoikov. Gives it to Apia. Apia hangs that ball to the far post, but it's too long. It's gonna go all the way out of bounds.
Yeah, again, that's in that situation. I'd like to see Jalen Robinson put a little bit more pressure on the ball. He's kind of giving him some time out wide to serve in balls, and that could end up being dangerous.
I mean, that's where the first dangerous cross from the left came.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was the same situation where he's just kind of hanging off a little bit, but he's got to get pressure to the ball to make sure that he denies that service.
Now Plevar brings it forward for St. Louis. Looking for an outlet. pass was cut out by Luis Fernando doing some more good defensive work. I think I'm pleased to see Luis Fernando doing the defensive work, but it also worries me that he has to keep doing it.
Well, I think that just that's due to the fact that the kickers are giving up that possession to St. Louis right now, which is, it's something they've always done. As long as we get numbers in behind the ball, let them possess the ball at midfield, right inside of midfield.
Yep.
It's really not going to hurt anyone, and it gives you that ability to kind of get people behind the ball, get pressure, and then try to break quickly. That's kind of the missing link right now, is when we win the ball, we're keeping possession in the same part of the field instead of either switching sides, getting forward quickly, getting numbers forward.
Do you just want to see that break be faster?
Yeah, that's kind of the urgency that we're talking about, is we win the ball, try to one pass out of where the ball just was, and then get forward.
We have about 12 minutes to go in the first half here at City Stadium. Walls has played it out left. Gets it back. Gives it to his centre-back partner, Pleva, who gives it back to Walls. Walls goes long. Petosevic beaten in the air. The loose ball in midfield is collected by Oscar. That was a good steal. Now Asante to Braden Troyer.
It's well done by Malin Roberts and William Yambi. It's one thing I really like so far tonight, is every time Petosevic looks to get the ball, he's got one or two of them right on top of him.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a partnership that you've seen kind of coming together the last few weeks.
Yeah, you know, I know Yambi, it took him some time to recover from the injury. He had off-season knee surgery. As he gets older, it's going to be harder to recover from that. Sorry, Yambi. But it's taken him some time, and I think he's finally starting to get fit, and just his leadership and his experience is something that was definitely missed at the beginning of the season.
There's a yellow card to Asante?
Yep.
28, Samuel Asante. Caution.
Let's take a second look at this.
Asante of Richmond. Free kick for St. Louis.
Yeah, I think the reason why he gave him a yellow is he thought he was fouled just a second before that and got up kind of the retaliation foul.
I see. So it was a retaliation sort of ramming from Samuel
there.
Yeah,
wasn't even really much of anything, just more of a ramming.
Stoikov to take the free kick for St. Louis.
Is that like an English term?
I guess so.
We'll go with that.
I was thinking of sort of two boats, you know, if one boat just rams into it. Oscar with the ball. Finds Oliver. Oliver looks up, goes out right to Raul Gonzalez. Gonzalez goes back to Jalen Robinson in the end. Robinson lifts it down that line. How can watch it bounce? Not quite out of bounds. It's out of bounds. It's going to be a St. Louis FC throw-in. Fans, stay up to date with the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 PM Eastern on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check uslsoccer.com for dates and times. Now Walls goes long. Header from Yambi. Very confident, certain header. Roberts finds Asante. Asante outright to Robinson. Robinson down the line for Janet. Janet missed the header. Not deliberately? I don't think it was, is it? Now here's Oscar. Accelerates. Lifts it into the path of Luis Fernando. Luis Fernando on the left here now. Up against Sheldon. Sheldon got the better of him. And Sheldon clears.
And that's the exact position you want Luis to get into. 1v1 out wide with the defender kind of faced up. And most times he'll end up beating the defender in that situation right there. I think he just had a small little bad touch, and that was the end of it.
Here's Oliver. Oliver shoots left-footed from distance.
That's good.
He hit Plavar in the chest. Plavar's gone down. He didn't look that much like a thunderbolt kind of thing.
No, I think he just kind of hit him right underneath the ribs, kind of get the wind knocked out of you if you're not fully expecting it. Good attempt by Oliver. I like that. I love strikers who look to shoot. You're never going to score if you don't shoot.
That's what he did this past Saturday for the Kickers. He got that equaliser early in the first half, just bending one in from distance early in the second half.
Just an unexpected shot. I think him and I think Asante's goal, the game winner, was just one of those kind of unexpected shots. Caught the keeper a little bit off guard.
Raul Gonzalez with a corner kick here in the 38th minute. Gonzalez bends it in. It's headed out by Koosman.
That's a good corner kick too. I like that.
Now Luis Fernando. Left-footed cross from Fernando. Chested down and cleared by St. Louis. Jone couldn't maintain possession. Stoikov plays it out wide for Apia. Apia keeps it in. Fernando coming back to offer some defence. And I think he's forced Apia into a turnover there. Now Raul Gonzalez. Tackle from Playvar. It's going to be a kicker's throw. I've seen a lot of goals just before half-time at City Stadium this year.
This year there have been a lot, haven't there?
Yeah.
Kind of both ways, though.
So everyone pay attention the next 7 minutes, because we're not sure what's going to happen.
It could get exciting. Nah, I think that the last couple minutes, I was about to say, it seems like the kickers have picked up their urgency a little bit. They look to get forward, and then, as I said, that thing slowed down and they started going backwards again.
I'm seeing a bit more pressure as well.
Yeah.
Not so much sitting deep.
Yeah, I think this is their 4th game in 10 days, so I'm sure they're a little bit tired. And it's 3rd game in a row they've played the exact same starting lineup, which is something that Lee's not really known for. But when you find a group that's playing well, sometimes you got to stick with it, and it builds a little bit of competition, especially amongst the guys on the bench and the reserve. So I don't think the heat's a factor. It's a pretty nice night, so hopefully they can kind of pick up that pressure and go after them.
It's St. Louis FC right now with the ball. Playvar out of the back to Sheldon. Sheldon into Petosevic. Steps on it but holds it. Couldn't get it away from Oscar. Asante picks up the loose ball. Asante to Gonzalez. Gonzalez turns but was knocked down by Tony Walls. I think I saw the referee pointing free kick. Yes, free kick to the kickers.
Yeah, I think it wasn't that bad of a foul, but he had his arm up, a little bit of a forearm to the back, and that's what he called. Right there.
Yeah.
Little arm to the face typically get you.
Asante gives it to Roberts. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit nikesoccer.com. Koosman now.
Koosman's been very active for St. Louis.
Yeah.
He seems to be the guy who's kind of pulling the strings for him in midfield. Not necessarily staying out wide, pulling into the middle quite a bit, and he's been a bit of a handful.
Yeah, I'm actually confused by his position, because I really thought of him as a right winger, but I've seen him central.
I think they've given him a lot of freedom, and a lot of times that's where you get most dangerous, is you have a guy who's out wide, and as he starts to creep inside, sometimes he can go accounted for.
Because then Braden Troy, for example, has to decide, do I go with him? Do I let him go?
Yeah, and that one really good chance, maybe Braden thought that he was inside, and all of a sudden he pulls out wide behind him, and he had no idea.
Now Matt Turner's going to kick. He goes long down the middle. Loose ball. Playvar gets a left foot to it, but that wasn't a clean contact. That is out of bounds for a Richmond kicker's throw. Another one to blame on the conditions?
We'll go with that. Yeah, it's it's been a pretty sloppy half so far. I don't know if Lee's going to be super happy with the way the kickers have performed. I don't know if Preki will be super happy with the way St. Louis has performed either.
Here's Troyer battling at the top of the box.
Conditions.
Koosman came away with it. Oh, sorry, free kick.
Yeah, I was going to say the conditions definitely aren't great, but they've definitely been a lot worse out here. So it's something you expect at this level to kind of get a feel for a little bit quicker and hopefully clean it up. I think the second half will be pretty different from both teams.
Yeah, I've definitely seen worse conditions here at City Stadium. I've seen lightning in the sky.
Well, we've played in much worse. This is a beautiful July night.
Am I right in thinking the field here at City Stadium seems to me one of the best in USL?
I think so. I think it's consistently, especially now. It's been a really long time since they've had any football games out here. It's always one of the nicest fields. It's really big, which is great also.
Yeah.
Smooth surface. Typically there's a fungus that comes in the middle of the summer, and that really hasn't happened this year.
Okay.
Every time you go out there, it's just beautiful green, plush, really good surface to play on.
I did not know about the fungus. I wasn't expecting that level of expertise.
Well, when you dive around on it for as many years as I did, you get used to these things.
You get a good close look at it.
Yes. And the blue paint that University of Richmond used to use in the end zone.
Koosman lifts it into the path of Petosevic. He turns, shoots from distance. Turner saves.
Good save by Matt Turner. It's good to see. He hasn't had that much to do tonight, but when you're called upon, you make that save.
Apia is tackled going into the box by Oscar. Oscar Umar goes long. Playvar gives it to Walls. Now Howe. Ryan Howe drag back and pass to Apia. Chips it back to him. Howe one times it. Now they'll build again from Playvar in the back. Here goes Playvar. Troy was across. He's trapped Sheldon in the corner and I think accidentally took him down.
Yeah, they're going to call a foul on that. It's pretty close to the corner flag. Probably play this very similar to a corner kick.
Let's have another look at this Matt Turner save, Ronnie.
Yeah, you know, Petrosevic hit this one really well. Little side volley with the left foot, and Matt with a good save. Did a good job of getting the ball out wide off the rebound also, so he didn't give up any rebounds in front of goal, which is always very important.
Yeah, the save's no good if you just present them with a second opportunity.
Which you see a lot these days.
It's going to be Koosman to take this free kick. Floats it in. Apia gets his head to it. Luis Fernando clears for the kickers. The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting uslsoccer.com and follow them on Twitter @USL. Sheldon throws it into Petrosevic. Petrosevic juggles. Still has the ball, gives it to Koosman. Drag back. Tries to get around Troyer. Braden Troyer got his left foot in there with a tackle.
Great little touch.
And there's Luis Fernando with a nutmeg. Luis Fernando almost away. Stoikov was across, but I think that was at least some of that urgency that you were talking about, Ronnie. They're looking for a fast break there.
Yeah, and it was, it was good by Luis. He got the ball, he went forward, clever little nutmeg, which he definitely did on purpose, which is always fun.
Yeah.
But they were getting numbers forward. If you look, there were guys running around him. I think if he had gotten past that one more player, he would have looked to get it forward. But that's what we need to see more of. We need to see that urgency in getting players forward and really trying to win the ball and go after goal.
Here's Jackson. Referee's whistle has gone for the foul on Merkowicz.
It's a late whistle on Oscar right there. Probably the right call.
We're right at 45 here. But definitely enough added time for St. Louis to try and capitalise on this free kick. I see Merkowicz has maybe some stitches above his right eye. We're going to have 1 minute of added time, so this may be the last opportunity of the half.
Yeah, it's really important right now defensively to make sure that everyone's back contributing, helping out, find your marks, make sure you don't get beat.
Merkowicz serves it in, headed out. Scramble top of the box, Apia gets a foot to it. Referee blows for half-time. It is 0-0 at the half.
That was a really good defensive header by Jalen Robinson right there.
That's what you were talking about, right? You've got to make sure right at the end of the half, no mistakes, no opportunities.
Just if you have the opportunity, make sure you don't get beat.
So quick thoughts before we take a half-time break, Ronnie. What do you make of the kickers so far?
Defensively, they were pretty solid. Really only had 1 or 2 chances that they gave to St. Louis. It's, again, possession was okay from both teams, but it was kind of that neutral possession. Definitely think the kickers need to get a little bit more urgency and really try to get forward a little bit more.
We are going to take a short break. We'll be back with you for half-time in just a few minutes.
Look forward to having you back supporting Richmond Kickers soccer in a couple of weeks. We're going to do something a little...
Elephant Auto Insurance presents Richmond Landmarks with Gene Cox. Built in 1901, Main Street Station has defined Richmond's skyline for over 100 years. One of the oldest train stations in the country, and it still keeps folks on the move. With its national headquarters right here in Richmond, Elephant keeps people on the move without breaking the bank. So log on to elephant.com for a free quote today. It's the most Richmond thing you can do.
How can an elephant go undercover to ensure great customer service? Well, it goes a little something like this. I carefully prepare my disguise.
Yes, ma'am. We've got a tow truck on the way to you right now.
I approach with the utmost subtlety.
Absolutely.
I observe undetected.
Those repairs include a lifetime guarantee.
And slip away without a trace.
What?
When my customers are happy, I'm happy. And when I'm happy...
More care, less cost. Discover the elephant difference at elephant.com.
At CBS 6 News, we aren't confined by four walls. Our office is out here, in our community. CBS 6 News at 11, working for you.
Welcome back to City Stadium. You've seen the Saxon Ball Kids here at City Stadium, where it is Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 0. There you go. Give us a wave, Saxon Ball Kids. So first half, Ronnie, no goals. Maybe the best opportunity for the Kickers was Milan Roberts, that surprise chance that he had.
Yeah, you know, that was the one real opportunity they had, and that's kind of the disappointing thing, especially after last week's performance against Bethlehem. They had a ton of chances going forward, and this game it was a little bit more just possession and not many opportunities out of the run of play.
So let's take a look at some of the first half highlights.
So here it is, that first chance by Malin Roberts, and a really good save by the goalkeeper. And
I didn't notice that first time. Yeah, Grenwis got a touch to it.
Yeah, and a great recovery. Then, you know, Raul Gonzalez did get into a really good spot, and you know, again, you'd like to see that one go a little bit far post.
Nothing wrong with that Gonzalez free kick, right? It's just I think the wall jumped to meet it.
Yeah, the wall did a very good job. And then here's the you're going to see the high boot by Jalen Roberts. You like the creativity and really brave defending by Batosevic,
who we were worried about for a little minute, but he was back on the field not long after.
Yeah,
there he is, missing that ball as it came across.
And that's St. Louis's best chance. You could see Matt Turner's not very happy with the defending right there.
Raul Gonzalez with a second attempt. Maybe ill-advised to try and lob the keeper when he wasn't fully off his line.
Yeah, you know, it's looking at it, it seems like a bunch of half chances. Yeah, so, you know, Jalen Robinson throwing his body around. You see both teams really getting into it. I think the positive from the Kickers is they're definitely getting a little bit nasty, like Coach Callister asked them to do. They're messing it up with them. They're getting physical. You know, you get Asante, the smallest guy on the field out there, who's got the yellow card. Yeah, you know, Yambi and Malin Roberts are doing a really good job of being physical in the back and being a little bit nasty and making sure the forwards know that they're right behind them.
And when we've got sort of a lot of numbers clustered in midfield, it's going to be about whoever just comes out of that sort of almost like a rugby type scrum, whoever comes out of that with the ball. So it is about just being the strongest, being physical, winning that ball in midfield.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, you go into halftime 0-0. Defensively, you really haven't given up many chances. You'd expect that shot from Petosevic. You would expect Matt Turner to save that. It's going to take something pretty special from there to beat him. So you almost give up that shot. That's fine. There was the one low cross, and that was really the only chance they gave up. So from a defensive standpoint, you should be pretty happy with it.
And you're happy with Matt Turner's performance?
Matt, you know, he's done all right. He made the save he needed to. Those games are hard when you kind of just sit there and you're watching the game in front of you, and you've got to try to keep yourself involved. But he made the save he needed to. He didn't give up a bad rebound. He got the ball out wide, which was great. Distribution's been good. So he's done a very good job so far.
All right, we're going to take one more break, and when we come back, we'll be getting ready for the second half at City Stadium.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and Food Bank at feedingamerica.org.
Attendance numbers have been impressive, fan bases have been strengthened, and the newest club to join the USL has been announced. In a press conference, USL President Jake Edwards announced Fresno Football Club is set to join the league for the 2018 season.
It's great to finally be here, representing the league and our Chief Executive Officer, Alec Papadakis, as we welcome another fantastic professional soccer club into our league and a fantastic new community into our USL family. A great pleasure on behalf of Alec Papadakis and the USL family to officially welcome Fresno into the USL for the 2018 season.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to start off by saying that the World Cup is coming next year, and so is Fresno Football Club. Good timing. When people come to a game, I'm hoping to pack this stadium out, that they're going to look forward to it, they're going to get behind the team. It's going to be a great thing for the city of Fresno.
We really need your support to make this work. I think that the turnout today has shown that the passion's there. I'm excited about it. Go FFC. Let's go.
Fans can find more information and reserve season tickets at FresnoFC.com. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing.
I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels.
After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak.
Meals on Wheels, coming to my door as someone who's housebound, having someone check on me, assures me that I'm not forgotten.
Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise.
We're the clients.
We are the clients.
We are the clients of Meals on Wheels.
America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Elephant Auto Insurance presents Richmond Landmarks with Gene Cox. Built in 1901, Main Street Station has defined Richmond's skyline for over 100 years. One of the oldest train stations in the country, and it still keeps folks on the move. With its national headquarters right here in Richmond, Elephant keeps people on the move without breaking the bank. So log on to elephant.com for a free quote today. It's the most Richmond thing you can do.
How can an elephant go undercover to ensure great customer service? Well, it goes a little something like this. I carefully prepare my disguise.
Yes, ma'am. We've got a tow truck on the way to you right now.
I approach with the utmost subtlety.
Absolutely.
I observe undetected.
Those repairs include a lifetime guarantee.
And slip away without a trace.
What?
When my customers are happy, I'm happy. And when I'm happy...
More care, less cost. Discover the elephant difference at elephant.com.
At CBS 6 News, we aren't confined by 4 walls. office is out here in our community. CBS 6 News at 11, working for you.
Welcome back to City Stadium, where it is still Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 0. Halftime stats presented by GRTC coming up soon. You can see the crowd here. They've braved the light drizzle to see the Kickers so far.
Yeah, some good flags in the stands tonight.
Let's take a look at the stats presented by GRTC. The big one, no goals. Kickers edging it with shots, total shots. Shots on goal, 2 each. Anything stand out to you there, Ronnie?
The fouls 13-6. It is. I think the Kickers are taking that little nastiness thing to heart, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear Coach Calishaw say that, just because I never really thought of it that way. But he did say, nice guys finish second.
They do. It's it's always been one of those things. It's kind of the unwritten rules. You have to have a little bit of nastiness when you're playing. It's not always good to be a nice guy. I think
maybe not too much, right? We don't want that bottom stat red cards. We don't want to see any numbers on there for Richmond Kickers or St. Louis FC.
Exactly. I think it was a number of years ago we ended up winning the Sportsmanship Award, and Lee wasn't very happy about it.
Is that so?
That's like the least number of yellow cards and red cards in the league, so he didn't like that one too much.
Was that a winning season, though?
I think we did okay that year. I can't really remember. They all jumbled together, but I'm pretty sure we did pretty well that year.
You can see the majority of the Kickers in a bit of a huddle there. What sort of halftime conversation do you think they'll be having with 0-0? It's sort of delicately balanced.
I think the conversation has to be kind of a continuation of what they've been saying. The key seems to be just, listen, we've got nothing to lose at this point. We've got to go out. We've got to attack. We've got to score goals in order to kind of save the season and crawl up from the bottom. So
yeah, because the big thing is, right, Kickers have just turned it around. They've got this 2-match unbeaten streak, but it's still a long way back to the playoffs. So it's really, you may as well gamble it all and start winning.
Yeah, it's you're at the point right now where even a draw doesn't do that much for you, especially when you're playing a team like St. Louis, who's just above you in the standings. So you've got a chance to leapfrog a spot. This is kind of where it needs to start. And 0-0 doesn't do anything for you. You're not going to win if you don't score. So let's get some numbers forward. Trust the defense. Trust Matt Turner. Trust Yambi back there. Trust that they're going to take care of business. Don't do anything reckless, but still get numbers forward and try to score some goals.
So will you see any signs early in the first half that will sort of be, you'll see if the Kickers are really going for it or not?
I think you'll see it in their play. I think when again, we're probably going to sit back. We're going to let them have possession at midfield. They're not going to hurt us doing that. That's fine. But when we win the ball, we've got to get some urgency.
So it'll be about. So you're not going to see the Kickers high press, for example, but you may be going to see how many numbers they commit when they win that ball back and counter attack.
Yeah, it's right now in the first half, a lot of times they would win the ball and they'd knock 3-4 passes together in a little 10-yard square, right where they won the ball. Where you're not going to be able to get right. You're not going to be able to get forward doing that. It's you win the ball. Let's change the field. Let's switch it to the other side. Let's try to get it forward to a striker who's going to hold up the ball and let numbers run past him.
And then substitutions. You think we'll see, for example, Frank Tayu, the kicker striker, come on?
I think you'll see him. I think Owusu is finally off of a suspension from his red card. I know he's just raring to go. He's I've seen him out at Ucrop Park a couple times, and he looks pretty bored. He looks like he's ready to go, and he should be pretty fresh, so he should be able to add some energy. So I think he's been a bright spot this year, so I would expect to see him in there pretty quickly.
And we are underway in the second half here. Kickers winning the ball back. There's Oscar Umar. Leaves it for Braden Troyer. Gets in a battle with Jackson, but gets the ball up the line. And still in bounds. Stoikov down the line to Koosman. Koosman trying to get to the end line. Braden Troyer was in his way. Quick throw into the path of Jackson. Jackson puts it across. Malin Roberts. I'm not sure he needed to concede the corner kick there, but he at least didn't let it go across the 6-yard box.
Yeah, that's one of those you're being a little bit safe. Maybe you'd like to see him be able to get that out for a throw-in instead of a corner kick. But, again, it was safe. The ball's not going to go in if it's across the end line.
Here's Koosman with the corner, right in front of the Red Army, who have been quite pleasant to him by usual standards. Koosman crosses it in. It's gone in top netting. I'm not sure who got the connection. Maybe it was up here?
I think it was. It looked like him. That's going to be disappointing from a kicker standpoint.
Let's take it. We'll find out exactly who the goal scorer was when we catch that replay. But the man being congratulated is number 45, Emmanuel Appiah.
Yep, that's just, you know, in my mind, that's a little bit of lack of concentration from a kicker standpoint. It's a really good ball in there, but it looked like Oscar was the one who got beat. It was his man, and at that, like kind of like he did at the end of the first half, you've got to make sure that you win that ball and you don't get beat to it.
So it's like he didn't lose him completely, but he just didn't manage to block the ball's path to him, didn't manage to get a tackle in, didn't manage to get any sort of touch on it.
Right, that's where that little bit of nastiness would have come in good. You know, you grab him, you hold him, you don't do anything stupid, but at the same time, you don't let your guy get in front of you.
So here we go, St. Louis 1-0 over the Kickers at the start of the second half.
And now we're going to have a little bit of a hole. Now you could probably expect St. Louis to sit back, make it even harder for Richmond to break down. They're on the road. They're up a goal in the second half. You know, from their standpoint, you don't want to do anything stupid. You don't want to make it easy. You just sit back in and kind of let them try to take the game to you.
Just going to shift the balance of the game a little bit. It's going to be Kickers will have to sort of take control of the game more because St. Louis are going to sit back more.
Yeah, and they've got it. Now that urgency and those penetrating passes are going to be very important.
Here goes Merkurich, looking up, crosses it into the path of Jackson. Braden Troyer gets ahead to it. Jackson top of the box, touch was loose, Troyer clears it. It's collected by Matt Sheldon. Sheldon drives forward into the feet of Petosevic. Still has it, a heavy cut, ran into Asante. Now here's Raul Gonzalez. Gonzalez, the pass is loose. Appiah has gone around. Great save from Matt Turner to knock that over the bar.
What a save by Matt Turner right there. That's what you need out of your goalkeeper right there. That keeps him in the game, absolutely. It's a bad mistake by Raul Gonzalez, and Matt Turner coming in to really bail his team out.
And I think he was letting his teammates know that.
Yeah, and you've got to at that point. You've got to. That's a mistake that you cannot make at this point of the game. And that's a great save.
He beat Jalen Robinson a little too easily there as well by doing the old putting it one side, running around the other side.
He did. I think Jalen Robinson at the same time was pretty careful about not conceding anything.
I see.
He didn't want to foul him. He didn't want to give up a penalty. Have some confidence in the guy behind you that he's going to be able to make a save from a bad angle.
Another corner kick. This is how St. Louis scored at the start of the second half. Koosman to take. Floats it in and over. It's going to bounce all the way out of bounds. Tony Walls gave chase, but it's going to be a Kickers goal kick. This is where we'll see if the Kickers have that urgency to start pulling this back around.
Yeah, right now, right offhand, that the 2 minutes after a goal didn't look too great for Richmond. Let's see if they can pull it together, see some leadership step up, and who's going to take control of the game. Someone needs to take control of the game for Richmond right now.
Yombi just stepped in, won the ball back. Jalen Robinson goes back to Turner. Turner kicks long. Oliver didn't contest the header. I think he's not your typical sort of target man, is he, when those long balls come in?
No, he's definitely not. If you're trying to play the ball into him, it's got to be more of a driven ball to his feet, to his chest, something that he can control, like he just
that,
did.
Right? Nice little layoff.
Yeah, he's not going to be that towering center forward. He can play balls in the air, and he's going to beat a center back.
Milan Roberts lifts it down the line. Braden Troyer's going to collect it. Troyer up against Koosman. Troyer keeps fighting, but St. Louis have the ball. Cleared long and out of bounds. It's going to be a Kicker's throw. I see some warming up on the sideline there, Ronnie. Who's that?
Is that Frank Tayu, maybe?
It may be. That would be the obvious sub, right? Bring on your striker.
Yeah, I think they need to. I think they need to get someone in there who they can play the balls to. He's more of that target forward that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
And he's a goal scorer. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net.
He's already scored an equaliser for the Kickers, I believe, on his debut.
Yeah, the USL goal of the week.
Here's Robinson. Looking for a good option with this throw. Puts it back to Yombi. Yombi square to Roberts. Roberts to Troyer. Now Asante.
And he hasn't, Asante really hasn't been as involved as I'd like to see him either. And that's, like we had talked about the last couple games, he really has been involved. He's been kind of that kingpin who's been pulling the strings for Richmond, and it hasn't happened so far tonight.
And not to be too dramatic, but I get this feeling that the Kickers' season kind of hangs in the balance here. But this is when they can extend this unbeaten run and really get some momentum. If a defeat here sort of puts them back where they were a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it definitely does. It almost undoes the good work that they've done the last couple games. So they, you know, even if it's not a win, at least clawing back and getting a point is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe they can take some momentum off of it. You know, it wasn't a great start to the second half. It wasn't a great first half, but they at least were able to come back, and that shows a lot about your mentality.
They have 40 minutes to make it happen.
A win is going to be much, much better, though.
Gonzalez puts the free kick in.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some subs pretty quickly.
Yeah. We did see, I think, Tayu doing some quick sort of, he was just knees up, kind of.
Yeah, it's, you know, the good thing is you're coming, there he is right in the background. you're coming off of halftime where hopefully the subs were able to loosen up a little bit, so it shouldn't be that hard to get ready and to get warm.
But here goes Jackson down the right for St. Louis, tackled by Braden Troyer. And Braden Troyer gets around him, gets a toe to it, keeps it in. Luis Fernando under pressure from Koosman and Jackson. Koosman wins it back. Koosman tackled by Troyer. Jackson plays it. Here's Merkowicz. Merkowicz outside of the foot. Back to Sheldon. Sheldon goes cross-field. It's a loose ball, though. It's picked off by Raul Gonzalez. He just put that too far ahead of himself. Good interception and an attempt at a fast break.
Yeah, the effort's there. It's just that touch isn't exactly clean. The passes aren't exactly clean. The effort's absolutely there. The ideas are there.
Petosevic has given away a throw-in. I think he was trying to hold that ball up. It's going to be Robinson to take. Oliver gets his head to that one. Flicks it infield. St. Louis get a toe to it. Robinson shepherds it out. I've got one eye on that clock now, Ronnie. Ticking towards 90 with the kickers 1 goal down.
You know, and it's funny, when you're down, it always seems to go a lot slower.
And crossfield ball picked off. Here's Apia up against Yambi. Step over. Shot from distance. Held by Matt Turner.
Yep, and that's a comfortable save by Matt. He read it pretty well. You know, Yambi did a good job of kind of taking away that near post. Really only gave him one option, and Matt kind of read that.
Do we give Yambi some credit as well for sort of not letting Apia get too close?
Absolutely. He, that was really good defensive positioning. Kind of shows Yambi's experience. Again, if you get too close, you make it easy for him to beat him. But if you hold off too far, it makes it easy to shoot. So
he
did a good job. Yeah, and as Apia kind of cut in, he kind of took away the near post with his body position, really only gave him one option, and Matt behind him kind of read that.
Yambi again goes shoulder to shoulder with Petosevic, comes out with the ball. And I think has won a free kick.
That's not good. He seems to be holding his groin. Hopefully he can walk that one off.
I think we'll see next time he tries to accelerate, we'll know whether that's okay or not.
Yeah.
Turner takes the resulting free kick. Fernando lays it off. Janet didn't get a touch but has maintained possession. Now Oscar into Raul Gonzalez. Here's Asante. Asante, nice little pass into Luis Fernando. Fernando, I think that was a no-look pass. Out left to Sonny Janet. Umar faked the cross, went backwards. Yambi. I see the kicker's back line pushed up quite high.
Yeah, that's a result of St. Louis really putting everyone behind the ball.
Luis Fernando with a touch in the box, shoots. Good save from Grenwis. And defender is down. I see Plavar on the floor there, Conrad Plavar.
Yeah.
Did Grenwis get a piece of him?
I think they both kind of collided and both kind of saved it. Great ball in by Asante right there. Luis does a good job, slips a little bit, it's on his right foot, and looks like they kind of collided as they were saving it. But that's a very good opportunity by the kickers right there. Luis did well. Looks like he slipped a little bit. But a great ball in behind by Asante. We need him to get involved like that.
Yeah, it's good to see him higher up the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
In fact, the whole team higher up the field.
Yep.
As we wait, I'll say fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's on SiriusXM FC, channel 85. Also, don't forget, SiriusXM will broadcast the game of the week. Check uslsoccer.com for details. Substitutions come in here. Substitutions presented by Elephant Auto Insurance. It looks like Raul Gonzalez is coming out. Did I see 27 held up there?
So we got Owusu going in and Matt Bolduc going in for Luis Fernandez and Samuel Asante.
What do you make of those subs, Ronnie?
You know, I was expecting Owusu to get in. Again, I think he's been really solid for them this year.
Yeah. I like his crossing. Anytime I see Freddie Sakiri crossing, I'm happy for the kickers.
Yeah, you know, he's really come along as he's kind of gone up in his career and he's gotten a little bit older and experienced. And he's been one of those guys who's really been involved and really gets the ball moving.
And Bolduc, I have to admit, is a guy I'm not particularly familiar with. I know he's only played a couple games for the kickers so far. He'll be wearing number 32, fans.
Yeah, so it's, you know, looking at the substitution list that the kickers have, some of the names that have been on most of the season aren't really there. And you've got a couple guys who probably are performing really well in practice. And Lee's willing to give him a shot.
Grenwis kicks long. Ball is won in the air. Seems in the meantime there was also a substitution for St. Louis. I see number 7, Sebastian Dalgard, is on the field. William Yombi turns and goes back to Matt Turner. There's number 7, Dalgard, with the beard. It looks to me like maybe he's replaced Daniel Jackson, number 27. Yep. Here's Robinson. Robinson pushing farther forward, I see, right back there. Wusa Sakiri with the ball. Back to William Yombi. Wusa Sakiri with a nice turn. Tried to deliver it, but he's blocked by Dalgard. Now Apia, the goal scorer. Apia brings it into midfield. I think you shouldn't have played that over the head of Troyer for Petosevic to run onto. Petosevic thought he was going to come short for it, and now the kickers have the ball.
Yeah, Braden was in pretty good position right there defensively. Made it difficult to get in behind him.
There we go with Sakiri. I think wins the free kick. My regular colour commentator, Tyler Rockwell, calls him Battling Fred.
I like that. I've known Owusu for a long time. I coached him when he came over at VCU, and you know, he's definitely a guy who he always had that dream of playing professionally, and kind of tried over and over and over again, and finally got a chance, and he's really made the most of it.
You can sort of see that in his play, right? Never give up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those never give up. He's always going to give you 100%. Like you said, he's going to battle.
And here's Raul Gonzalez down the right for the kickers. His cross is blocked as Playvar slid in. But a Richmond kickers corner kick in the 60th minute.
I'd like to see that stat from St. Louis. Block crosses and block shots. It seems like there have been a ton of them tonight.
Does that say something about what the kickers are doing? Is it maybe a little too predictable?
No, I think it's more about just the mentality of St. Louis right now. They, you know, they're battling for everything they have, and it's going to come down on a night like tonight where it's that mentality. Who wants it more?
Sonny Jane prepares to take the corner kick. Left-footed, serves it in. Grenwis punches it clear. Robinson gets there first. Sakiri puts it out right. Collected by Janet. Janet left-footed, cuts to the end line. Tries to cut it back. Koosman got a toe in. And seems to have won a goal kick, yeah. Janet says no. I'm not an expert at lip reading, but he definitely said no.
He definitely said no. Thankfully, he didn't say anything else. But it, I at first look, I have to agree with him. It didn't look like it was over the end line.
Let's take a second look.
I don't know if he's saying it touched him after Koosman got a foot to it.
Yeah, it looked to me like it was out of bounds and then it hit him.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can see how that's tough for the referees there because it all happens so fast. Header from Murkovic in midfield. Milan Roberts goes back to Turner. Turner with a touch. Kicks long.
St. Louis is still pressuring the ball. They're trying to make something happen up the field.
So not just settling for that 1-0 and sit back.
No, they're not. Which, again, that's kind of that mentality I guess they have coming in here. They said trying to make a statement here in City Stadium.
And in some ways that's good news for the kickers because it means they can catch them on the break, but it also means that they're not going to just have the comfort of having possession and being able to make something happen.
Right. But that might suit this year's team.
Oh, we're still in bounds. Here's Oliver. No, it seems the whistle had already gone.
Yeah, that might, this team is more, they seem to be more dangerous to me when they can win the ball and counterattack quickly.
Yeah, I see that too.
As long as they have that urgency, and the players on the field are the ones that need to do that.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit nikesoccer.com. Here's Adam Grumwis to take the goal kick. Goal kick goes long, easily cleared halfway. But Sakiri wins that bouncing ball, plays it down the line. Baldock giving chase. Baldock, I think, gave a little push there to Matt Sheldon. Too much nastiness?
You can never have too much nastiness.
Or maybe you've got to just disguise it a little more.
I think it was obvious nastiness. How about that?
Needs a little bit of subterfuge maybe to get away with it. But
that's extremely obvious nastiness, which you need to hide.
That ball has bounced out. It's going to be a kicker's throw-in. 28 minutes of regular time to go at City Stadium. Braden Troyer takes the throw down the line. Won by Sheldon. Good turn by Merkowicz. And Stoikov goes back. Tony Walls goes long down the middle looking for Petosevic. William Yombi was there. Now the kickers can bring it out with Robinson. I see him looking downfield. Plays it direct. Great turn from Jane. Raul Gonzalez. Sakiri, first time ball, out left to Baldock. Baldock gives it to the overlapping Troyer. Braden Troyer cuts back onto his right foot. Decent cross, it was maybe a little low. Gonzalez couldn't get there. Yombi sends it back in. Yombi concedes a free kick. Was it maybe just the ref thought he had his arms on the opponent?
Yeah, that was, for me, that was a little bit soft of a foul. I think Yombi did a good job. Maybe his hands were up a little bit, and that's what he got called on. But that's what we need more of from Richmond. We need players being composed on the ball. There's still plenty of time. 27 minutes in regulation, and they've got time. They don't need to get too unsettled. They need to have some composure and pick and choose their times.
I'd say Freddie Sakiri is very composed so far. You just saw two really good passes under pressure. He's giving it to Baldock out left. He keeps the ball, gives it to Troyer.
And you've got to give St. Louis credit. They're doing a very good job they're putting pressure on the ball, but once that pressure's broken, they're getting numbers behind it really quickly, making it very hard for Richmond.
Janet to Baldock on the left. Tries to go low and left. Matt Sheldon gets a foot to it. And Matt Sheldon clears it out of bounds. Yeah, Preki seems to have his guys well drilled.
Yeah, they're definitely putting the work in, and they're making it very difficult to get broken down.
Gonzalez with the throw.
And he's got a pretty long throw, so you see the big center backs coming forward right now to put targets in the box.
And Yombi was going for it. He was beaten to it by Pleva. Now Gonzalez to cross with his feet. No, he gives it to Baldock. He crosses. Headed out by Pleva. With Sakiri from the top of the box. And shot blocked again.
Another block shot. But you could see that mentality and that urgency of them just not wanting to get beat, throwing their body in front of the ball.
Now here's Apia, the goal scorer once again. Lays it off. And now plays it in, looking for Petosevic. Milan Roberts lets it bounce. It bounced all the way through to Matt Turner. Though Dalgard was aware of it, he was bearing down.
It was good use of the wet field by Milan Roberts.
Baldock gives chase in the corner there. And gives away a free kick. Oh, I think he's protested a little too much there.
Yeah, I like his mentality. He's really going for the ball, but again, it's just a little bit too much. The arm extends, and that's going to get a call every single time.
I think we were kind of joking earlier about the push being too obvious, but I think that's an example where he still did just a little too much and gave the ref sort of reason to call the free kick.
Yeah.
When it could have just been shoulder to shoulder, and then there's no foul.
Yeah. And you see that all the time. You see, as long as your arms stay down, it's shoulder to shoulder, a lot of times you don't see the call. But as soon as that arm comes off the body and it's extended a little bit, that's when they call the foul.
You see Tyler David there, number 12. He's going to be subbing in for Milan Petosevic, number 25. That substitution to be sponsored by Elephant Auto Insurance. Apia on the right. He goes down. Ball is out of bounds. Braden Troy has won a throw-in. I think the substitution is happening now.
Yep.
Or Braden Troy is very slow taking this throw.
The ref gave him the hold sign.
So once again, you're going to see number 12, Tyler David, coming in for number 25, Milan Petosevic. This substitution sponsored by Elephant Auto Insurance. Double high five there between David and Petosevic.
We've got just over 20 minutes left. Still plenty of time for Richmond, but they do need to get the ball getting forward and try to create some opportunities. It's still a little bit stagnant.
I think when I've seen David play before for St. Louis, he plays in midfield, so they may have switched to a more 4-5-1 formation.
Yeah, that would make sense. Got a couple more numbers behind the ball. As you can see, they've got everyone behind midfield except for the one striker.
Yeah, Dalgard, you see number 7 there up front. So it is going to be maybe a more conservative St. Louis FC for the final 20 minutes. But that means you'll see the kickers with the ball in this attacking half, maybe a bit more.
Hopefully.
A free kick won by Janet there. It's going to be a Richmond kickers free kick. The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting uslsoccer.com. Follow them on Twitter @USL. Looks like Sonny Janet coming out.
Sonny Janet and Frank Tayu coming in, which again gives us that big forward, a guy who's a goal scorer.
That's Tayu for Janet, sponsored by Elephant Auto Insurance.
Sonny's last act on the field is getting fouled, and giving us a free kick in a good position on the field. Give a chance for the big guys in the back to get forward. Tayu's in there now, so you've got 3 big targets. See if
I see Janet on the field.
He's still on the field, so I think they took someone else out.
Janet shoots just over. Maybe the number that went up was incorrect.
Yeah. That's good. Sonny, he's been pretty energetic tonight, and this free kick, I think he was trying to catch the goalkeeper off guard a little bit, which is a good idea, but it's got to be hit with a little bit more pace from that far out.
Okay, Ronnie. So between the two of us, we will figure out who the kickers have substituted for Frank Tayu. Or maybe it's a super secret plan from Lee Kellershaw to get 12 men on the field.
He's tried that before.
The obvious sub would be Oliver, the number 9, to just straight swap for Oliver for Frank Tayu.
Yeah, Gonzalez is still in. I don't see Oliver out on the field right now. It's hard on the screen again, but that would be the obvious choice, like you said.
Meanwhile, St. Louis have a throw-in on the left. Ryan Howe plays it short into Dalgard, who lays it off for him. Howe goes into the corner. Oscar Umar came across, and I think the kickers have won either a goal kick or a throw-in on that far side. I'd say throw-in based on the positioning here. Throw comes down the line. Janet fighting for it, but Apia wins it.
And Apia's done very well for St. Louis tonight. I think he's kind of controlled the midfield. One possession when he needs him to. Been pretty dangerous going forward as well.
As I understand it, he's a somewhat recent signing for St. Louis as well, so he'll be really pleased that he's sort of established himself in this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't get more established than scoring the winner. So far.
The potential winner.
The potential winner. Getting a good look at Ivan Merkovic there, St. Louis FC captain. Koosman stands over this free kick. He's not been shy about taking all the set pieces for St. Louis. High floating cross that Turner claims easily.
Yeah, that's, I think Matt Turner did exactly what he needed to right there. Come out, claim the ball, and try to get a little keep possession and get things going with that urgency we've been talking about all night.
Yeah, he threw it to Janet. Janet crosses the field to Troyer. Kicker's looking to work it down the left here. Baldock back to Troyer. Dalgard doing plenty of running up front there. Yarnby with the ball for the Kickers. Now Milan Roberts to Braden Troyer. Good defensive discipline from St. Louis FC here. They're not giving the Kickers anything to aim at.
Yeah, you can see they've got all 11 players within 50 yards of goal, making it really hard for Richmond to break them down.
Gonzalez has found a little room on this right wing, but he has two men. He crosses. I think you saw Tayu going for the acrobatic. Braden Troyer strikes, hits the bar.
That was a pretty acrobatic effort there by Frank Tayu with the ball by Raul Gonzalez. But that's what Richmond needs to do.
Tayu's got a yellow for his, I think, for his high feet.
Yeah, that was a little bit high. I like the effort though. That was really all he could do right there to try to get the ball. But that's where the spots are going to be for Richmond. As you get St. Louis that many people in behind the ball, you've got to switch it from side to side. Really make them move around. The more they can move around, the more opportunity you have for spaces to open up.
So it's just about finding a little bit of space down the wing to maybe get a ball in. Grenwisk with the kick. Roberts played it off of Dalgard and wins the Kickers a throw-in. Fans, stay up to date with all the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays at 9 PM Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. And don't forget, SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Check uslsoccer.com for dates and times. Played forward to Tayu. Touch on his thigh. Gives it to Oscar Umar. Umar trying to spring Janet clear. And there's Oliver. Still on the field.
Magic.
Oliver, I see counting the 6 seconds, but the keeper still kicked. It's going to be a kicker's throw. Braden Troyer to take. Troyer down the line. You see Lee Calishaw watching pensively. St. Louis throw. Deep in their own half.
I'm thinking the Kickers took Jalen Robinson out. Take out a defender, make Raul Gonzalez kind of sit in defensively if he needs to a little bit more, and let go a little bit more attacking, which is, again, like we talked about, that's what they need to do. We really have nothing to lose at this point. Might as well get some numbers forward, and whether you lose 1-0 or 2-0, it doesn't really matter. You got to give your team an opportunity to score goals.
So this is a sort of an attacking gambit from Lee Calishaw. I think you're right, because I just saw Raul Gonzalez in a right-back-ish position. Now Roberts tried to play it into feet. St. Louis picked it off.
And that's the thing that's going to hurt Richmond the most, is bad giveaways from the back. Especially playing like this where you really don't have a true back four, is you've got to make sure that you keep possession, at least get it forward, so that you're not susceptible to that counterattack.
Apia gives it to Merkowicz. He gets it back from Koosman. Merkowicz starting to dictate the tempo through the middle there. Apia on the left, up against Raul Gonzalez. He goes back. Merkowicz one more time. Squares it to Stoikov. Stoikov outright. Sheldon. No pressure on St. Louis to get this ball forward. Tyler David now.
Now this is what you'd expect from St. Louis, and it's well done by them. Good composure on the ball. Keep it. They don't have to get forward. There's no urgency out of them. Just keep the ball. Keep possession. If they have it, they can't get scored on.
Merkowicz sort of sitting in the middle and just spraying those passes around. Now Ryan Howe to Tyler David. Outside of the foot pass from David. Yombi picks it up. Now Milan Roberts has it. Kickers still look a little hesitant. That fast break is definitely not on.
Now again, it's, you know, they win the ball and they play a couple lateral passes, a couple passes backwards, and it's good to see that they're not really panicking, which we don't want them to do right now, but they do need to get the ball forward. And
Yombi obliges.
yeah, I'm not too sure if a 60-yard ball is the best option, but at least the ball's forward.
No, Bodok has it. Bodok goes backwards to Owusu Sekiri. Tried the cross, David gets ahead to it. Merkovic heads it out. Now Raul Gonzalez. Still Raul Gonzalez. Yombi. Roberts. To Braden Troyer. Now Owusu Sekiri. He goes short into the feet of Janet. Janet turns. Janet accelerates. Janet on his left foot. Looking for a way to cut back. I think he tried to nutmeg Koosman, but Koosman, I think just the instep got a touch.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't see who was defending Sonny right there, but he was looking for a shot. He had it on his favored left foot. Couldn't really find an opening, so whoever that was defensively did a very good job.
Now Oscar Umar to restart this attack for the kickers. Yombi. Outright to Raul Gonzalez, who I want to say is basically playing right wing back. He has that whole right flank to himself. He's dribbled in field. He goes back. Fredo Sekiri looking up. Outside of the foot pass, spreads it out. Oscar Umar. Umar short into Gonzalez. Gonzalez top of the box. Looking for an opening. So many St. Louis players in front of him. Owusu Sekiri faces the same problem. Shoots low and wide. Seemed like a shot in desperation in the end from...
yeah, you know, that's one of those situations. There's really not that much. You would hope to have something a little bit better. When you have that many numbers in front of goal, anything can happen. It could take a funny deflection off a defender. It could fall to a forward's feet. You never really know what could happen. But, you know, from Fred, that's okay. You've got to like that mentality. Again, you're not going to score if you don't shoot the ball. So with that many people in front, you never know. You just kind of hope that final execution is a little bit better out of him.
It's the old Wayne Gretzky quote, right? Miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer in that.
See Ivan Merkovic here. Looks like maybe a tight thigh. Maybe a bit of cramp.
Yeah, I think his hamstring calf is kind of cramping up a little bit. He's put in a good spell tonight. He's worked really hard. Again, defensively, getting forward. He's definitely putting the work in. Could be a little bit of a time-wasting tactic at the same time. He's an experienced player, so you could see that out of him. But
so 12 minutes to go at City Stadium. We're getting towards now or never for the kickers. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit nikesoccer.com. See Oliver there, just waiting for a chance.
yeah, and again, you know, even since they've gone behind, there really haven't been any clear-cut chances in front of goal. Raul Gonzalez had that one, but you know, I'd still like to see some clear-cut chances and see if Richmond can take advantage of them.
Groundwist's goal kick, headed back the other way by William Yombi. Walls had a kind of a clumsy touch under pressure from Oliver, and he's conceded a free kick. It's the dynamic free kick duo of Janet and Raul Gonzalez. It's the old left foot, right foot combination.
Yeah, from here, you really don't need to be tricky. Just serve the ball in the box. Your two big center backs went up there. Frank Tayu's a good target. Get the ball in the box and give him a chance to win it.
Let's see what Janet's cross is like. Maybe a little too close to Gremwis, who managed to punch it clear and was fouled in the process. I didn't see too much there.
I don't think it was a foul on him. I think they called a foul on someone in front of him.
I see. Yeah, I think you're right, because he's taking a few steps forward there. I saw William Yombi with his hands slightly higher than usual. Now Gromez kicks long. And out of bounds. Richmond kickers throwing. Preki telling his men to get back behind the ball there. I saw him gesturing backwards. Yambi. Gonzalez. Square to Owusu Sakiri. His pass out left was cut out, but he gets a second chance. And then he's beaten to the ball by Dalgard. Big slide tackle from Milan Roberts. Great
Good tackle.
win. I love a slide tackle. Oscar Umar gives it to Yambi. Terrell Gonzalez. And back to Yambi. Clock is ticking. Roberts goes long and left. Troyer challenges. And he's going to chase down this second ball. Plevas there to clear it out. It looks like a St. Louis FC throw.
Yeah, Braden Troyer did a really good job of pressuring that ball, not giving him an easy out, and then you lock them in back there. They've got a deep throw in, and they won the ball back, which is exactly what you want to do. Put pressure on the ball. Don't let him get it out easily. That was well done by Richmond.
Now Yambi to Roberts. Back to Braden Troyer. Troyer first time into Boduk.
And some gaps to get the ball played into, but you've got to be able to hold on to the ball.
I got this theory that if you argue with the referee early, then anything that's 50-50, you're less likely to get the decision go your way, and I think that might be what Boduk is running into.
Yeah, that happens quite often. Referees are people, and they've got memories. And
yeah, even if it's subconsciously, right?
Yeah, but it's the two fouls that he had called against him, I think, were both fouls. He was pretty obvious about it, like we said, that obvious nastiness. And the ref is going to remember that. So if there is something that's kind of questionable, he's not going to go out of his way to help you out.
Milan Roberts let that ball run through. Matt Turner's there to collect it.
It was a good dummy by him.
A self-nutmeg.
Keeping Matt on his toes. He hasn't touched the ball in a while. I wanted to keep him involved.
That's it. Here's my question. When you're trailing 1-0, I tend to get sort of nervous earlier and just want to sort of bang it into the box. What's the correct time to sort of do that really panicky, just we've got to get this in there and give us a chance?
We're getting close to that point. You on a night like tonight,
88, 90, like when do you
right around there? I think you kind of look at what's going on. We've had possession, but we haven't really had many good chances. So maybe it's a chance for Malin Roberts or Yambi to get forward and give you that extra forward up there. Frank Tayu's first game, that's what they did. They kind of threw Malin Roberts up top to be an extra target. He chested it down, and Frank Tayu hit that side volley and it went in. So you get to a point, I think probably around 85, 86 minutes, you might see one of those two get up top as well. You don't need them sitting in the back. They're both kind of doing the same thing right now, and St. Louis isn't throwing a bunch of numbers forward. Let's get someone else in the box and let's get the ball forward.
You've just seen number 2, Seth Rudolph, come into the game for the captain, Ivan Merkowitz, number 18. That substitution sponsored by Elephant Auto Insurance.
And that should be all the subs for both teams.
Yeah, so I guess the answer to my question is you'll really know when you see the centre-backs in the box.
Yeah, it's you get to a point you don't want to do that too early because then it's kind of pure panic mode. So you want to keep some composure.
Janet top of the box to Oliver. Oliver's shot was blocked once again by St. Louis FC.
In that position, I'd like to see Sonny take a shot. It's on his favored left foot. He's cutting in. Just have a go and see what happens.
Yambi picks up that long ball that I think was intended for Dalgard. Now Milan Roberts. Out to Braden Troyer. Troyer serves it forward. Tayu came to challenge. Koosman, Sakiri, picked off by Emmanuel Appiah. Laid off to him by Dalgard. Here goes Appiah. Appiah slows it down, goes backwards. Here's Ryan Howe. Frank Tayu coming all the way back. Howe crosses. Turner I think he was scrambling for a second. Did he just have a moment of, oh no, where's this going?
Yeah, I think that was that really brief oh no. I think as a goalkeeper, we've all been hit by that at some point.
Yeah.
Where you get that cross that's kind of fading in towards the back post, but he had it covered.
Now Yambi gives it to Roberts. Kickers trying to work the ball up the field. Into the last 5 minutes of normal time at City Stadium. Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 1.
I would expect to see one of those center backs get forward pretty soon and just give another target and start to get that ball in the box. They're trying to build with patient possession, but it's really not giving them much of anything. I don't think they've had a shot on target in the last 15 minutes.
Here's Janet on the left, tackled. Stoikov puts it into the path of Sheldon. Sheldon with a bit of space to run into. Sheldon up against Roberts. Tackled by Milan Roberts. That's an important tackle. And it's still in bounds. Roberts saves it. Hurdles the tackle. Still Milan Roberts.
That's well done.
Nice and calm from Milan Roberts. Janet goes to his right to William Yambi. Yambi found Bulldog in midfield. His Frank Tayu hasn't had many touches. Gonzalez tried to dribble away. Howe got a tackle in. Ball still in bounds. It's going to be 50-50. Wusikiri gets himself in front of it and wins a free kick.
Well done by Wusu.
And takes it quickly. Bit of urgency. Yambi looking long. Found Troyer. Troyer got his right foot to it. Slightly too far ahead of Oliver. Easy for Granwis to come and claim.
3 minutes in regulation. I would expect to get a one of those center backs forward any minute now.
And there haven't been any major stoppages, so we can't expect too much added time.
No, there was that one where Merkovic was down for maybe a minute, but that was about it in the goal celebration. But
so we're thinking maybe 2 or 3 minutes of added time?
Probably 3 minutes would be a fair amount of time.
Kickers have the ball with 2 minutes and 20 seconds of regular time left. Yambi looking for options.
Yeah, I think Malin Roberts has made his way forward now. You have Owusu kind of sitting in next to Yambi in the back.
I see. There is Malin Roberts. Tyler David clears for St. Louis FC. Wusikiri brings that down nicely. Slide tackle.
And this is the dangerous part of that tactic.
Here goes Seth Rudolph. Rudolph from distance shoots. Turner blocks it. The rebound comes back to him. Turner plays it out. Here's Bolduc. Bolduc takes it forward. Still has the ball. Gives it to Raul Gonzalez. Gonzalez, heavy pass, was looking for Roberts, couldn't find him. Now Dalgard, very aware of the clock by the look on his face. Holds that ball up. Gonzalez has given away a free kick. Let's see the strike from Rudolph one more time. Not a particularly confident shot.
No, it was he had a tough angle. I think Yambi did a good job of getting over there and closing down the space and kind of making him shoot from a tough angle. There's the Red Army again. They've been fantastic tonight. We can hear them even from where we are. They always do. They've got the love and support of the club.
They'll be willing the kickers to get this equaliser in the last minute or so. Koosman killing a few seconds there.
Relax.
Turner kicks long. Oscar Uma to Yambi. Yambi leaves it to Wusikiri.
Yambi's getting forward also now, which is good. This is that kind of urgency, but
Granwis catches. So will Yambi stay forward now? Someone has to go back, don't they?
Yeah, you saw Asante going back, but you've got Malin Roberts up there, Frank Tayu, Yambi getting in forward, and then the cross goes into Oliver, who's probably the smallest of the four up there. So they need to try to find their targets, even though there is that little bit of panic. They still need to keep some composure and make sure that they're putting good balls into the box.
Troyer couldn't keep it in. It's going to be a throw-in. We have hit 90 minutes. We'll see how much added time that there is.
3 minutes of stoppage time.
3 minutes of added time, we're being told. There are 3 minutes of added time here at City Stadium. It's going to be a throw to St. Louis FC. It's going to be a free kick to St. Louis FC, excuse me.
Yeah, I think Braden was a little bit eager there, and the St. Louis player saw the pressure coming and made a meal of it. But it was a smart play.
Dalgard trying to hold it in the corner there. Troyer looks like he got hurt.
Yeah, I think they called the foul on him. Braden did a good job right there. They knew that the St. Louis player Dalgard was gonna feel the pressure and try to hold on to the ball, and Braden did a good job of putting his body in a good position.
No time to lose for the kickers now. You can see Yambi waving people forward. He plays it long, looking for the head of Tayu. Rudolph tackled by Tayu. Now Troyer with the ball. Braden Troyer serves it in. Oliver heads it on. Tayu fighting. Sorry, that was Roberts. The ball has gone through to Grenwis. Grenwis in no rush.
That's a good ball in by Braden Troyer. I like that. Olivier with a little knock on through, and Malin Roberts getting his head to it, but Grenwis with a pretty comfortable save. He's been solid tonight. You know, nothing spectacular. Made the saves you'd expect him to make. Come out for a couple crosses pretty well, and done what he had to do to earn a shutout so far.
So we have maybe 90 seconds by our calculations left at City Stadium. Ball goes long. Bounces. Referee's given a foul against Baldock. Kickers will be lucky to get one more possession as the clock runs down. St. Louis in no rush here, understandably so.
Good gamemanship by them. Definitely have some experience out there.
Tyler David plays it out. Braden Troyer gets ahead to it. Stoikov plays it under the bench. Yombi gets it back from the Saxon Ball kids. Throws it in quickly. Braden Troyer on his right foot. Troyer plays it long. One in the air by Walls. Raul Gonzalez turns, gets away from Guzman. Here goes Raul Gonzalez. Tackled by Emmanuel Appiah. Another great play from Appiah tonight. Usikiri gets it to Braden Troyer. Troyer goes long. Oliver loses out in the air. Referee blows for full time. It's going to finish Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 1 at City Stadium. St. Louis open up a 6-point gap over the Richmond Kickers in the USL Eastern Conference table. Raul Gonzalez worked really hard tonight, but you can see the disappointment on his face there.
Yeah, I think all the Richmond Kickers players are going to be pretty disappointed, and it wasn't for a lack of effort. I think just the execution wasn't there. They didn't have that sharpness and that crispness and that real urgency going forward. They're slowly running out of chances. I wouldn't say that they're done right now, but I think they've got to take that mentality that Lee's been talking about of, you know what, right now it's just about clawing your way through. Do what you got to do, really compete, really try to get better, and play for something.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back to wrap things up in just a minute.
Hey, congratulations, guys. You know you guys all get one, right?
Oh. CBS 6 this morning, Emmy winner for Morning Newscast.
Elephant Auto Insurance presents Richmond Landmarks with Gene Cox. Built in 1901, Main Street Station has defined Richmond's skyline for over 100 years. One of the oldest train stations in the country, and it still keeps folks on the move. With its national headquarters right here in Richmond, Elephant keeps people on the move without breaking the bank. So log on to elephant.com for a free quote today. It's the most Richmond thing you can do.
I'm gonna leave when I cross the line, standing high above this moment in time. Gonna push through the shine, I'm gonna hold on tonight, 'cause I'm leaving life this moment in time. This moment in time.
Choose between 1, 7, and 30-day unlimited ride passes. Pick the pass that's right for you and get ready to connect.
So here at City Stadium, it finishes Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 1. Let's take a final look at the highlights of the second half. I'm going to guess the goal's coming first because it was early in the second half, Ronnie.
It was, and it was, just one little mental breakdown again, and we talked about that nastiness at the beginning that Lee was talking about, and that nastiness includes set pieces especially, of just not letting your guy beat you, making sure that you're first to it. So give St. Louis credit. They took advantage of it. They were ready to play right from the whistle. Nothing Matt Turner could do. Unfortunately, it was a great ball in, but Richmond did have some chances. Raul Gonzalez with a good ball in.
But it was a lot like this, right? No really clear chances. Maybe this may be the best one. Luis Fernando getting up after the slip to get a strike at Graham West.
Yeah, I think this was really their best chance that they had the whole second half. It was lots of half chances, but nothing really that you would say you should have scored that one.
Yeah, it was a wish security. I mean, that told the story of so many bodies in front of the ball, and there was no way to create something. It was just a shot from distance.
Yeah. And on a different night, maybe some of those goals go in. A week ago against Bethlehem, they had lots of shots from distance, and they created problems. Tonight, it didn't happen for them.
So coming up next for the Richmond Kickers, they are away on August 5th to Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and then three home games in a row. August 12th against Orlando City B, August 19th against Toronto FC 2, and August 26th against Charleston Battery. I would say 2 of those games are winnable, and the third is going to be a big tough game against an informed Charleston Battery team.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's always a tough place to play. They've got a really cool stadium though nowadays up at Highmark Stadium. But
is that the one down by the river?
Yeah, it's down by the river. It overlooks it. But Richmond there, you don't want to say it's kind of the season's over or it's do or die, but it's almost a playoff situation for them now. Is they've got to go into every game not panicking, but knowing that they've got to go in, they've got to score goals, and they've got to put in a performance. They've got to start making a move up the standings, or else it's going to be too late.
All right. So I've been Darryl Grove. He's been Ronnie Pascal. Ronnie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Darryl, it's been a lot of fun.
It has, but it's finished. Richmond Kickers 0, St. Louis FC 1. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again when the Kickers are back at home against Orlando City B on August 12th.